A new study out by Nationwide Survey found that despite some of that fear subsiding, 40% of women still worry that we are in a financial crisis, and 87% of women feel that there is no proper way to prepare for a recession. Let's try and change that and get our viewers' retirement ready for that. We want to bring in Kristi Martin Rodriguez, Nationwide Retirement Institute Senior Vice President. This segment brought to you by E-Trade. Kristi, it's great to see you here. So let's take a step back. When we're talking about women getting ready for retirement, especially in a volatile time like this, how does that differ maybe than what we're seeing from men?
Yeah, so a couple things that are facing women that are so prominent. The first, think about our longevity. So a woman's life expectancy is about 8% longer than a male. And then we often see that women have breaks for caregiving, for their children, for their loved ones as they age. And so that is really some kind of prominent areas that have prompted women to really have to think about and contend with. One of the great findings that we also heard from the study was 87% of women are actually now understanding that they're going to have to think about income supplements or a way to work during their retirement years, as longevity will play a critical aspect of that.
And what are the biggest challenges facing portfolios right now when you're trying to figure out how exactly to allocate your retirement savings, especially in a time like this? Why is it so critical to really reassess?
Yeah, it's important to reassess because we're dealing in a market now that is very volatile. And I think we all can agree with that. We just have the segment around the banks as well. But it is ways that women can really combat to that. So some of the things that we found in the study that women can do, and quite frankly, men, is that a good proportion of them are saying, I'm spending less. I'm being much more frugal and making decisions around what I really need to purchase in the next 12 months. And is it necessary? They're also being extremely strategic about their long-term savings portfolio. And one of the things that I really love that women are doing is we're seeing a pivot or a shift in their saving strategy. And we're seeing a lot more women address having a financial professional. And we saw that almost a 10% increase year over year. So it's really about how do you think about your strategies, not just short term, but long term, and really saying, do I need to tap into my retirement savings, which is something we strongly encourage women not to do, to that earlier point around longevity. And we're really seeing now more than ever that women are actively involved in understanding what's going on in not only our local national environment, but our global environment, and taking the necessary steps to move forward and to be prepared.
And Kristi, when it comes to putting that money away, what are the best vehicles? Where should women specifically be looking when they're trying to gauge the best place to allocate their savings?
Yeah, I kind of break it down really 5 key ways that women can do this. The first is, number one, if you have an employer, meet that match. That is so critically important, to leverage the match that you have with your employer. Invest in the long run. Right now, we're in what we potentially believe is a bear market. So this is a perfect time to get into the investment in the stock market and invest now for the long term so that money can continue to grow. They say the best way to beat the market is the timing in the market. And so we really encourage women to do that. And we truly believe this isn't an all or nothing game. You can certainly have a portion of your money that you're meeting and addressing some of those short-term needs, but also not compromising what you need to do in the long run. And then, just very much like you have an annual physical review, we encourage women, sit down and think about your investment strategy. I can say, as a proud Gen Xer, my investment strategy is totally different than when I started in my career, and making that very important to do so. And then the last, just like you would see a doctor or a specialist, if you can, try to engage with a financial professional or advisor to help you navigate through some of these things and also manage some of the discussions that we just mentioned.
Very important things to consider. Kristi Martin Rodriguez, thanks so much for joining us. Have a good weekend.
You too.